success. Denise Savoya, ABC News.
Well, Glenn Keys is the Chief Executive of Aspen Medical, the Australian company that has been operating an Ebola treatment centre in Sierra Leone on behalf of the Australian government and people. I asked him how many patients had been treated at the centre so far.
Since we've opened, we've discharged 46 patients, which is just fantastic news, as well as all of the people who we've treated or addressed and have been able to be discharged without being admitted. And we've got a survivors wall up that our staff have built so that every person who is discharged puts their handprint up on the wall and signs their name underneath it and dates it on the date that they were able to leave and get back on with their lives.
How is this playing into how the epidemic is overall being treated and contained?
Look, we're really starting to see across the whole of Northwest Africa a dramatic reduction in the number of people presenting. I think what we're starting to see is that its tide is turning now. We're seeing less people infected every day. We're seeing less people presenting every day. And I really think they've started to get it under control, and that's only come about because of the international effort, all of the countries and aid organisations working together. And what we've really now seen is the decline of presentations, which we hope will lead to the complete eradication sometime in the next sort of 6 to 9 months is the current prediction.
What country still seems to be the most problematic?
Look, I think that Sierra Leone is still very, very high in the number of presentations that are coming forward, and certainly the staff that we've got are really focused on the number of people presenting. Liberia has seen quite dramatic reductions in the last few weeks, but Liberia had a lot greater effort placed into it earlier, so that's really good to see their reduction. But Sierra Leone, we're really now starting to catch the containment of the contagion, and we're really pleased with the reduction in numbers that we're getting.
So what are you hearing from your colleagues about the vaccinations that started this week as a potential treatment?
Look, I think everybody's very hopeful. They've had some very, very good early indicators. I don't think anyone wants to make a commitment as yet, but we are really looking forward to some positive news over the coming weeks and months. And while this may not help the vast majority of people who've been infected with this current outbreak, it may help curtail it sooner and certainly will assist if there is another outbreak at any stage in the future.
Now, we know that there was a lot of international commitment of funding. As far as you're concerned, was that all delivered on appropriately in terms of continuing this work?
Well, certainly there's been an enormous commitment both internationally from countries but also from organisations. We've not heard of any gaps in the system. I suppose if you did a country by country or announcement by announcement commitment, you might find out if there were any that didn't match everything they said. But certainly the work that we've seen, the collaboration that's out there has meant that this has been dealt with, I think, in a way that's going to see a reduction earlier than expected. You know, people were talking the end of this year or the new year. I think we'll actually see it in probably third quarter this year, or maybe even a little earlier, which is just fantastic for those communities.
Glenn, if we go back several months now, there were so many Australians who had wanted to volunteer and get involved. Do you feel satisfied that they were given that opportunity?
We think that the access we've provided has been quite exceptional. After the government announced that people could volunteer to go, we had over 1,000 people apply to come into training. Now, not all of those were suitable, because some of them were medical skills we didn't need, because we were after doctors and nurses and environmental health professionals with very specific infectious disease skills. But it was still a great outpouring of commitment, I think, of Australians and particularly health professionals who wanted to help. We haven't had anybody pull out of the training. In actual fact, we've had people commit to go back again. And I think that speaks to the quality of health professionals we have in this country and their commitment to help, regardless of whether it's an Australian or someone who's suffering from Ebola in Africa.
And of course going into a potentially precarious and deadly situation.
Oh look, this is like very few emergencies that people are called on to help. This is a risk of catching a fatal disease. They realise that you have to be 100% right 100% of the time. And so the training we put them through and the rigour that they put themselves through to ensure that not only are they safe, but everyone they're working with and every patient is safe, is really impressive and a sign of immense dedication. But we've not been short of people who want to go, and I think that's fantastic.
Glenn Keys with some of that good news coming out of that clinic that is run by Australia.